Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome to our pre-patch review of the Blood Death Knight. Now, I am a total fan right now of the direction that the entire Death Knight class is going. In particular, Blood is going to be a lot of fun. I actually was maining a Prot Warrior last expat. I think Blood might be my go-to tank. I like almost all of the changes that we've seen through the adaptation of the new kit that we have, really picking up some old spells that we had access to. I like where we're going from a talent standpoint. We don't have a ton of like massive high damage cooldowns, but our survivability is absolutely incredible. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually do a quick review of what our talents look like on a couple fronts. So what you're seeing right here, this is for running your Mythic Plus dungeons. As we jump into pre-patch, Tier 1, go with Heartbreaker. Getting the 2 additional runic power per target hit makes a solid up increase. Homeostasis, that's an easy one for Tier 2. Tier 3, Relish in Blood. Like, that's all kind of the standard talents that you're going to see. We will see some jumping around between Heartbreaker and Blood Drinker in Tier 1, but Tier 2 and 3, you're not going to see any change. Will of the Necropolis, again, like a 30% damage reduction. Once you're below 30% damage, that's a real easy ability to incorporate. Grip of the Dead, again, like having the ability for your death and decay abilities to slow your enemy targets by 90%. Like, Death Knights aren't fast by any means, but being able to reduce the speed and really kite some pretty significantly large packs by reducing their throughput by up to 90%, that's incredible. Tier 6, you're going with Bloodworms, and that's really just trying to get a little bit of extra damage, but then some more self-heals. And then finally, we're going to go with Bone Storm. So there's kind of a strength that we're trying to leverage with Bone Storm, and that's really allowing us to set up really large pulls. So if we're going with really large pulls with Bone Storm, complement that with the 90%, and then reducing kind of speed impact or hamstring tied to the Grip of the Dead, you actually end up in a really good spot. You shouldn't actually have to relearn a whole lot of mechanics there. And honestly, there's not a lot of change for us. You will see some things here. There's always the appetite in that Tier 6 to potentially go with Death Pact. That'll increase your healing and health a little bit. I don't know. Stick with Bloodworms. It's more fun, but ultimately play whatever makes you happy. So, with that being said, let's look at this a little bit. Pull up our ghoul and jump into our raiding build. So, what's coming at us in terms of changes for raiding? Again, not a lot of massive changes. Tier 1, we're going to go with Blood Drinker, and that's really just to get the additional health that you can pick up. So nothing major there. Tier 2, Tier 3, no changes whatsoever. We've kind of got some go-to talents. Our talent tree isn't super exotic, but it's going to do the trick. Tier 4 and Tier 5, actually no change there. There's probably an argument if you want to go with Grip of the Dead as your snare, like really useful in Mythic like we just reviewed. Alternatively, depending on what the fight is, you may want to go with Wraith Walk or Tightening Grasp, and that's really just in the event you need to use Gorefiend's Grasp, a little more familiar, or you need that mobility boost. For me, I actually tried to avoid having to rely on the old Wraith Wrath by taking the Worgen Racial and actually taking the speed boost that comes with them. So that's always kind of been my strategy, and it's always helped me take advantage of an additional utility. So maybe a thought there if you're thinking about leveling up a new Death Knight from scratch. Last 2 talent trees. All right, so tier 6, stick with Bloodworms. No need to go any other direction there. Ultimately, then with tier 7, you've got 2 items to choose from. You want to go with either Purgatory or Red Thirst. Now, Purgatory can be a credible choice here. Honestly, you just have to figure out if the encounter that you're going into actually has a higher likelihood of triggering Purgatory. If you're actually able to pick that up with the constraints that the raid fight requires, go with that one. Otherwise, Red Thirst is a really safe pick. Just having more uptime on Vampiric Blood, and that makes life a whole lot easier. That's kind of it, folks, from a talent build perspective going into Mythic Plus or raiding. Blood Death Knight, not a lot of major challenges. There's obviously a couple impacts here due to the AoE target cap changes that we've seen. There's a few components that we need to be smart with. But ultimately, Blood is going to continue to have a couple game breaker mechanics associated with it. Incredibly hard just to knock down, even if you have half a healer with you. Blood Death Knights are just incredibly tough to stop. All right, folks, that's kind of it from a talent perspective. Let me know in the comments, what do you like? What could I do better? What do you want to hear more of? Do you want to talk rotations? Do you want to talk about stat priority? What essences you want to keep through pre-patch, or what conduits you want to use, or legendaries as we jump into the game. I'm really excited for the Shadowlands storyline. I'm crossing my fingers. We're going to see a few different curveballs thrown at us from a plot perspective, but you never know. Drop it down in the comments. Let me know, hey, what race do you use for your Death Knight? Do you go with a little bit of a utility-based one like this Worgen, or do you do it more thematically, whether it's from a role play perspective or just visuals? Just does it rely on how they look? Alternatively, let me know what you're playing. If you're not playing Death Knight, tell us what you're into. Or if you're not playing Blood, are you going with Frost or Unholy? All right, folks, thanks for watching. We will see you soon, and enjoy the pre-patch for Shadowlands.